This is Jack at Knightarmco. We're going to be talking through removal and installation of the locking collar on the QDC suppressor line, as well as installation of the suppressor shroud. To begin the disassembly on the locking collar, the first thing we need to do is rotate it all the way in. We're then going to remove this back ring, which is a limiter that prevents the locking collar from coming off of the suppressor. A simple flat-bladed screwdriver will help get under this lip. Rotate this ring over till we have this notch right here in the gap. So we pull that up, rotate away, catch that spring so it doesn't fall out. On the ratchet ring, one side is going to have a notch. We're going to simply get that tool underneath that notch and bring it out of this groove inside of the suppressor. Roll that around, push it up to the side to allow that to come out of that notch. When we take this off, the locking spheres are going to fall out of the suppressor body. Make sure you retain those so they don't roll away. At this point, the suppressor is disassembled and can easily be reassembled. If this ring needs to be taken off for any reason, like if you're introducing a new locking collar or replacing it, we're going to bring these out of alignment and allow it to pop free. We can keep that same orientation, or if later on, whenever we're checking this, we find out that we need to reverse this ring, it's easy to do so. To reinstall, simply catch the teeth in the notch, slightly open it up so it falls into position. From here, our first step is going to be to reinstall these locking spheres into the suppressor. I'm going to start placing these in, one or two at a time. Then I'm going to take this collar around, seat it in so these balls don't fall out. Keep placing them in, one at a time, rolling the suppressor around. Once they're all installed, simply roll the collar back on and tighten back down. From here, my first step is going to move these teeth back into this notch. I'm going to roll through the travel to ensure that I feel those firm ratcheting detents throughout the rotation of the locking collar. I need to be sure that I get those notches engaged when I roll into the unlock position. From here, I'm going to reinstall the retention spring. So I'm going to bring it around, taking the square notch and installing it just ahead of that notch in the suppressor body. Roll that spring and ensure that it seats into the groove. Check to ensure that it's properly retaining and we have that good solid rotation and the ratcheting notches. To install the suppressor shield onto the suppressor, our first step is to roll that locking collar all the way into the unlock position. We're then going to insert the suppressor into the back of the shield, aligning the notches with these relief cuts that you see on the back of the suppressor shield. Bring it all the way in, ensure that it's fully seated forward. At this point, we're going to line up the spring clip, and with our snap ring pliers, compress and insert into the groove in the back of the shroud. Ensure that the spring clip is fully seated in that groove by pressing down with a screwdriver or other applicable tool to ensure that it's seated in position. To install the suppressor or suppressor shield onto the rifle, first must ensure that we have sufficient gap between the front of the handguard and the index pin. That distance should be about 3/8 of an inch to the center of pin. With the suppressor in the unlock position, insert onto the muzzle device, roll until the index pin seats in the suppressor notch, and then tighten using the shroud itself. If you have any questions, please contact us at salesteam@knightarmco.com.